You know, on this channel, we love a good top 10 list. So we're doing 5 of them right now. A top 50, 10 per episode. We're talking about the most significant, impactful, perhaps best actors, modern actors from science fiction, fantasy, and horror movies and TV shows. Join us.
So hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son sit down and talk about all the nerdy things. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim, happy to have raised a son who likes to talk about nerdy things. It gives us so much material for this channel. And we have leaned into our ratings and rankings episodes, and a lot of you enjoy them, so that's probably why you're here. We're doing another one of these. But if this is the first time you found this channel, be sure to explore not only our top 10s playlist, but all the other things we have on fantasy fiction, science fiction, horror, books, TV shows, movies, and just occasional random stuff. And we hope you'll subscribe. Thanks for joining us today.
What are we doing today?
Oh man, okay, today we have so many amazing actors out there these days who are just putting in the time and producing such great content that we enjoy. Mostly in the movies, the big screen, but some that are on TV shows, people who bridge both.
Okay.
I decided, hey, let's rank them. Let's think of who are the 50 best in this regard, the ones that are really making a difference, the ones we really love seeing in the stuff that they've done. And let's just have fun saying, all right, who is the top 50, starting at the bottom and working our way up to the top.
Usually when we do these, I've never seen the list before. That's not entirely true.
Not true this time.
I have actually seen the list, or at least I saw it as it was in progress at one point. I believe it's changed since I last looked at it.
Just a little bit more, yes.
I can say there's probably some people that are missing. Please tell us in the comments who you think should be here, especially if you stick with us through this entire journey all the way down to our top actual 10. But there's still room for my dad to be wrong as well.
Indeed. Now, Zach did see a draft of this list and then gave his feedback. So things were changed, people were raised up, people were lowered. Nobody was dropped from the list because of Zach's comments. And really, way up at the top, he just kind of agreed with me. For the most part. There's one he would have put way up there that isn't there, and we'll talk about that eventually.
And there's a certain level of, like, are things in the order I would put them? Not necessarily. But it's hard sometimes to rank things like this.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take the blame.
So my criteria for creating this ranked list of these amazing actors is, one, what kind of impact have they had on the fantasy, science fiction, and horror genres? Some of these actors have done all three. Mm-hmm. What kind of impact has their performances had on it? 2, how good were their performances? Nobody nails it every single time. Come on, everybody has a box office dud out there if you do enough films. But, if they're really going to be high on the list, most of their performances need to be pretty strong. Those are the 2 primary things I use to rank them. The third thing that has some influence is just how much have they done. Because some of these, it is impressive what a body of work they have, specifically in fantasy, science fiction, and horror genres. It's just wow. And this is part of what we love about them. So I think that's enough. You want to know who's on the list. You want to know what to disagree with us. So let's get to it with number 50. This is the just happy to be here slot. One who just barely makes it in. I feel good with giving this to Evangeline Lilly. Evangeline Lilly has not done a ton of things in this genre, but has done some key things. I first knew her, and I think it is the first thing that fits in this genre, when she did Lost, which was such a phenomenon on TV, 2004 to 2010. And she was one of the key characters in Lost. After that, every time I see her, I'm like, oh, it's her again, because I loved her on Lost. She's done a few other things of real impact. She played an elf in the Hobbit trilogy that I don't like. I don't like the Hobbit series there. I mean, it's okay, but I didn't need 3
You're a
movies.
hater. It's okay. We hear
But
you.
she did a nice elf. Now, in a love story with a dwarf, and okay, I didn't need that either, but still, it was fun to see her. More significantly, we've got her in the Ant-Man films. She is the Wasp, Janet
Mhm.
Van Dyne. No, Hope Van Dyne.
There you go.
And it's her mom.
Who
Anyways,
also was the Wasp.
yes, but now it's been passed on to Hope, and she does a great job. So we've got her in a number of movies: Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man
Some
and the Wasp
Avenger things.
Quantum Mania, but of course also Avengers Endgame. She gets to jump in with that too. So
Ultimately,
yeah,
Evangeline Lilly makes sense to be way down here at 50, if only because of all those things we just mentioned. Mostly it's a supporting role that she fits into.
yeah, no, she's not the lead character in any of these.
And
That's
that's
true.
not a knock against her, it just does diminish some of the impact to the genre.
Number 49, Oscar Isaac. One of the newer actors on the scene. I mean, the first thing of any significant. What are you blinking about?
Oscar Isaac. It was just a very heavy
Well,
thing.
I did that because I often end up saying Oscar Isaacs, and he's
Do
not
you?
plural. He's not
No,
plural.
it's
So
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. Okay,
I
there we
mean,
go.
you could say Isaac probably. I don't know. It just sounded so overpronounced. It was weird. It was
He
great.
first
I don't
broke
know.
into these genres with the movie Ex Machina, a science fiction movie, but that flowed right into his appearance in the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got him in a number of films and TV appearances related to Star Wars and his character Poe Dameron. We've also got him as Apocalypse in the X-Men franchise.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it was not a very good movie. I don't think he even enjoyed performing in that role, if I've seen the behind the scenes stuff right. More significantly, when it comes to Marvel characters, he was Moon Knight, which I'm
Mhm.
so sad only got 1 season. Hopefully they'll bring it back. Moon Knight was pretty good, actually.
I didn't watch it, but I heard he did a good job.
He was fantastic. He's did the science fiction film Annihilation. Very small part there, but he's there. So, but the biggest thing, of course, that he's been involved with now is Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he dies. He dies early.
Spoiler.
If they have not seen Dune, they deserve to be spoiled. I didn't say what part he played, but he does a great job.
Yeah.
He's actually playing up a little. Like, he's not as old as he plays in this movie, but he makes it work. It just looks right.
Oscar Isaac is a fantastic actor, as far as I can tell, and unfortunately suffers from having been in too many things that were poorly executed. Like
Mm.
it was just projects that weren't necessarily the best, and so is he the best part of it? Yes. Does that mean I want to go and rewatch all those things all the time? No.
Did you know he was one of the voices in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yes, I absolutely do. Because
Because I've never watched that one, but I know you like those.
yes, I was sitting there going, "Is he?" And then I went, "Oh yes, he is." Very prominent,
Right.
very important part. No, he does great there.
Okay, number 48, Sophie Turner. Now, this is one I originally had much higher on the list. I took your
I
advice.
told
I
you
really
she
started
needed to be
looking and going,
so
no,
much
no, you're
lower.
right. She's way too high. Sophie Turner, 48. I had her higher because of Game of Thrones. I mean, that's where we met Sophie Turner. She plays Sansa Stark. I thought she did a phenomenal job on a great show. And even it ending with a stumble, that's not her fault. She nailed the performances all the way through. But she's gone on to do some other things. She's another one who's been in the X-Men franchise, coming in as the new and improved Jean Grey, when they kind of rebooted and brought everybody younger. Yeah, she's the new Jean Grey. So a couple of films that she's been in for that. And then she's had some other odds and ends that are out there that aren't very well known. Things I found, but I haven't seen any of them. So she's showing some versatility in the kinds of roles she can take. Maybe she's going to go bigger and better as we get forward, but it almost seems like she peaked at Game of Thrones, and now she's getting some additional roles thrown her way. We need something big from her again
There's
to
a fair
rise on this
chance
list.
she'll end up being kind of a footnote to the genre, but she will be mentioned.
And again, you never know when she's going to land that next big role.
What's next?
What's next is another person that I learned of in Game of Thrones first. Number 47 is Gwendolyn Christie. Brienne of Tarth. What a great character on Game of Thrones. She's done a number of other things, though, some of which you definitely may remember, such as she had a role in that final movie of the Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2. She also has been in the Star Wars series. So we're hitting some big franchises here. Captain Phasma, where you didn't know it was her unless you were a fan because she didn't take her helmet off.
But you could hear the voice.
Yes, yes. She had a great character in a show that I didn't really get into much, but The Sandman on Netflix. It was a big hit for a lot of people, and she plays Lucifer Morningstar. And I've seen clips, and I'm like, oh, she was good. Did you watch Sandman?
I did not.
I watched 2 episodes and I lost interest. But in this world where we are, this fandom, a lot of people really love that one.
And that's valid. I just haven't gotten to it.
But then she knocks it out of the park when she shows up in Wednesday, where she's the head of the school, Larissa Weems. And great role. And seeing her in a new way, because in this one, she gets to be truly feminine, where she's been so, Brienne of Tarth, I'm a knight, she's been rough. And this one, she's very ladylike and nails it too. So she's got some acting chops.
She's got versatility.
And there's more that she's done, but those are some of my favorites. And yeah, I think she'll rise. She'll keep rising.
She's very possibly the first on the list here that I think isn't necessarily higher, just because we've got people who are more deserving of it above.
Now, number 46 could be contentious. Okay, Gal Gadot comes in at 46 pretty much because of Wonder Woman. She's done Wonder Woman again and again and again. What I love about her is she nails Wonder Woman. She is the best thing to happen to the DC universe.
100%.
We've got one other actor from the DC universe who will appear somewhere on this list, but I don't want to give away which one now, but she personifies Wonder Woman. She so brings that role to life that alone gets her a place in the top 50. But what else has she done? Nothing. Okay, when it comes to these genres, you can maybe make an argument for the Fast and Furious series. They get kind of sci-fi techie fantastical with what they're doing with the cars.
Once we get to movie 3 and beyond, it's fantasy. That's not real.
So, she's in Fast and Furious, Fast 5, and Fast and Furious 6, So I threw that in. Okay, that's something other than Wonder Woman, but that's it. So,
but let's be real. You put her there because Wonder Woman.
And again, I did have her higher on the list, and you were like,
I told you no.
You're out of your mind. What are you doing?
Because you were out of your mind.
Okay, number 45 is one of the biggest stars in the top 50. But I'm putting him all the way down at 45.
So glad he's not higher.
We're talking Tom Cruise. Now, Tom Cruise is a box office dynamo. Okay, his name gets attached to a film, and it makes tons of money. There's a reason for it. He is a solid actor, a great performer, and he has done a variety of things in these genres. You go all the way back to, I think it was a teenager, 1985 Legend. Strict fantasy film that he does. Then, of course, we've got Interview with the Vampire. So kind of the fantasy horror blend. Some great sci-fi films. Minority Report is one of my favorite films. I really like that one. War of the Worlds, Oblivion, Edge of Tomorrow. He's done some solid science fiction performances. Then he tried The Mummy. In 2017, this was a train wreck.
So this was an unfortunate situation of a studio really trying for something that didn't work out.
They had this big vision, and
Tom Cruise is just another one of the lists of actors added to this world that didn't work out.
Yeah. So The Mummy didn't fail because of Tom Cruise. The
No.
Mummy failed because it's a horrible script.
Yeah.
Just bad movie. But Tom Cruise, man, he's still good. So yeah, there's a couple more things that he's done in these genres, but he's this low because the bulk of he's done so many films, but the bulk of them are not fantasy, science fiction, and horror.
Or at least not in the way that we're talking about him
Right.
today.
I mean, we could also toss out the Mission Impossible films. That's a 8-9 movie franchise. There's still another one about to come out.
But that bridges into just enough of a realistic category that in the same way, I wouldn't put most Bond movies into sci-fi fantasy.
Right. I mean,
could they be called that? Maybe, but I
there's a
wouldn't put
little,
them there.
you know, the high tech level kind of goes towards the science fiction level. The ludicrous degree that they pull things off is a bit fantasy, but it's more of an action film. Yeah, a thriller. Anyways, Tom Cruise. We're kind of in agreement that he belongs on the list, but down here in the 40s is a good place.
And I will go down in history as being a little bit of a hater, probably more than he deserves, so I'm okay with him being this low.
Okay, number 44 is one that I'm excited to have on this list, and I think just give her more time, she's gonna rise high, and that's Anya Taylor-Joy. The things she's already done just since 2015, amazing performances. We've got, The Witch in 2015. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
It's a fantastical, supernatural period piece. You're going back to the Puritans and such. And it's just such a great movie, but her performance is just dead on. Then she's got the trilogy. Well, she was only in the last two of the Unbreakable trilogy, Split and Glass. Powerful performances there. You liked the New Mutants, and she's got a key role there.
I don't think I actually saw it.
I thought you did. I thought that's
no. I was looking forward to, but I didn't see it.
Oh, I'm getting it mixed up with the Titans.
Titans, I have seen it. Like,
yeah, that's the one you liked. The New Mutants 2020 is a Marvel piece, but she plays Ilyana Rasputin, or Magic, the younger sister of Colossus, and yeah, does a great job. She's got some films that kind of are borderline fantastical, like Last Night in Soho. It's really not so much in this realm, but there's a bit of supernatural horror thriller elements to it.
Okay.
Her most recent thing was Furiosa. So we're getting into the Mad Max world. And she's playing that younger Furiosa that we meet that Charlize Theron did in Mad Max
Fury Road.
Yeah, Fury Road. So we get the younger version, a little prequel, and she nails this performance. I have not seen her with a clunker yet. And she really just does a great job with the kind of the deeper psychological, thoughtful performances.
No, we really haven't hit too much on this list yet that I'm upset about.
You're waiting. We'll get there. Okay. Well, let's get to number 43 then. Will Smith.
Some people might argue he should be higher, but I'm okay with him where he is.
The reason he's here, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he's done that are iconic pieces of fantasy, science fiction, Independence Day, the Men in Black series, I, Robot, I Am Legend, Hancock, which has a sequel coming out next year. Suicide Squad. I mean, and I'm skipping a bunch. He's done a lot of things. He wishes I would skip Aladdin, probably. It's not so good. They never should have remade that. Never. I mean, they kind of did a live action version instead of the animated, but you cannot replace Robin Williams' Genie with Will Smith as a live action one. No.
They went for something. Yeah, we can forget it happened.
He's got more out there. Some are great, some not so good, but why he's this low on the list for me is he's always Will Smith.
Yeah.
He's one of those actors. We come to get Will Smith. We may see a slightly darker Will Smith or a slightly goofier, but it's still just Will Smith. He doesn't have a lot of acting range, in my opinion.
There's the odd occasion where he does branch out a little bit. One of the key ones to this for me is After Earth. Okay. I think he does a tremendous job there and plays a role that is different than what we usually see from Will Smith, mostly because he's playing himself as a father to his son, which is his real son.
That's true.
And so it's just us seeing a different side of still Will Smith, but it is different.
He also, outside of this fantasy science fiction horror genre, he did a movie, one of his best films, where he actually showed he can act. It's the one where he's a father, homeless guy trying to get a job in finance. It's not in my notes, so of course the name is not coming, but I'll put it up on the screen here. And it's a worthy film. So he can act.
I mean,
That's just not the roles he usually gets because people just want to see Will Smith.
I'll give Will Smith credit where credit's due. One of my favorite Will Smith movies, 7 Pounds. It's not sci-fi or fantasy, but he does a tremendous job in it, and it hits emotionally.
Okay. All right. 42. Michelle Yeoh. She has a bunch of films that are Asian themed, even some that are Asian voiced, and you got to see them dubbed. She really hit the mainstream in America with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon back in 2000, which was like an off the hook film. The aerial fighting scenes, what they pulled off were amazing. But she continues to deliver and dip into a lot of these types of fantasy and sci-fi films. And then just some goofy fun stuff, like she's a voice in both Kung Fu Panda 2 and Kung Fu Panda 3. Again, kind of Asian themed, Kung Fu, but no, it's an animated film. The big one that brought her, I think, forward into a lot of the people in this genre going, oh, Michelle Yeoh, is her role in Star Trek Discovery. Where, I mean, she's Philippa Georgiou, a big performance there. Versatile, and of course, entering the Star Trek universe, all the Trekkies are like, now we know her.
There's definitely an argument to be made that she should actually be higher on the list, but for our bias and the things that we enjoy as much, I think she ends up being a little further down.
Some would agree with you that she should be higher because when you remember Everything Everywhere All at Once back in 2022, which was a tremendous hit, got some Academy Awards, I'm pretty sure. I have to admit, that movie I've only watched part of, and I lost interest. But a lot of people really like that movie. Have you watched it?
I think I would really like that movie. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So again, being I didn't watch all the movie and fall in love with it, okay, she gets 42. But she's on the list. All right. For today, our last one then, as we wrap up the 40s, at number 41, we're bringing in Chris Evans, who started off his Marvel superhero attempts as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, in the initial franchise of the Fantastic Four, which I found entertaining, but people were like, yeah, it's okay. But then they remade it, and it was a disaster, which makes the original that much better. He was a pretty good Johnny Storm.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. He had
humor, attitude, little swagger, ladies' man. That's what Johnny Storm is. So he did a nice job there.
That being said, he was a much better Steve Rogers.
Oh, Captain America, man. He's a linchpin, one of the linchpins of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Absolutely. So we've got all those movies where he plays Captain America. I just watched Snowpiercer,
phenomenal.
2013. It's a great movie on a horrible premise.
That's fair.
When the movie's done, I'm like, okay, this was weak. But the movie itself is intense.
It's great.
The acting it delivers. I enjoyed it. To
me, it's an example of you don't need to necessarily have the best premise to make a good movie, which is why it stinks so much that sometimes great premises turn into horrible movies.
But some great acting there, and surrounded with a solid cast. That was a good film. I threw one on the list that I think is kind of in the realm, and that's Knives Out.
I don't
great.
Put that in this realm. I love it. I don't put it in this realm.
It's that dark, suspenseful mystery, so it's not really horror. But yeah, I just wanted to say
it's
it.
I
love that film.
Movie. It's possibly in like my top 10 list of movies.
There you go.
Actually,
there's other things that he's done. He's shown a lot of versatility. 41 might be a little low for him, but there's so many other great actors in these genres that's just where he get bumped. He started out a little higher. Chris Evans, He's the top of the 40s.
So to wrap this up, I just have to ask a question. If I have an honorable mention that I don't think is on the list, should I mention them right here and now, or should I wait until we get to our top 10?
Wait, because then they'd know they're not somewhere else on the list.
Fair enough.
Okay, so that's where we'll leave you for today. Be sure to come back tomorrow for the next episode as we work our way all the way to the top. We'll bring you the 30s tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.